It's Monday, October 3. In the headlines, Tourism Innovation Incubator launched. Jamaicans urged to use non-violent methods for conflict resolution. And regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's government settles energy debts. And in sports, Jamaica Talawas are the new CPL heroes. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. There is a call for entrepreneurs to submit ideas that can positively transform the tourism industry to the Tourism Enhancement Fund's Tourism Innovation Incubator by October 14, 2022. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett made the call during the launch of the initiative on Friday. The Tourism Innovation Incubator is being executed with the assistance of partners such as the University of the Technology's Technology Innovation Center and the Founder Institute, as well as members of the Tourism Incubator Task Force. The TEF's Executive Director, Kerry Wallace, says this is a chance for Jamaica to explore uncharted waters in tourism.
This is changing that game. This is saying, hey, we need to stand up and understand where we are, and then be the ones facilitating our brilliant minds here in Jamaica to take advantage, to be the ones pushing the envelope, to be the ones having the new inventions, the new innovations.
The incubator provides a combination of services, including business support and training, to nurture these entrepreneurs and support them through the early stages of development and execution.
Develop a call for ideas, to provide Team Jamaica training for them, to introduce them to tourism linkages, yes, so they understand the things I just said to you about the moving parts that must come together, the confluence of activities, and then to develop a lean canvas, and that's a term that Ms. Giselle will have to explain better to you all, what her lean canvas is all about. And fifthly, to provide training on building and delivering a pitch. 6, to assist in the development of a business plan. 7, to provide intellectual property protection. And 8, to provide mentorship and networking opportunities.
Selection of the ideas is being done by a committee of members from the TEF and the Development Bank of Jamaica. And in addition to being tourism products or representing technology in tourism, each idea must be an innovation or invention that will add value. The tourism minister says the new ideas should take into account the changes in demand due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So the Gen Z traveler, we say, would crave for new products in destinations that can ensure safe yet memorable experiences. I said then, and it holds true today, that we must utilize locally sourced products and increase our local capacity to deliver them with superior quality and consistency to ensure that they will continue to keep Jamaica top of mind for upcoming vacations.
Each participant will be required to outline how their idea will add value to the tourism landscape and provide indicators for measuring the same, such as tourism spend, visitor satisfaction, and contribution to the tourism workforce, etc. The idea must also have a significant effect on the tourism industry.
This notion of innovation, resilience, and sustainability, the 3 pillars on which the future development, not just of tourism, but the global community is predicated. It's not something that we, tourism, have taken lightly. But I want to say with a lot of humility that we in Jamaica can boast thought leadership in these areas because we led the world in terms of resilience, building and understanding, and today we are making a new step in innovation.
Additional submission criteria and application forms for the Tourism Innovation Incubator can be found on the TEF's website. Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams is urging Jamaicans to resort to non-violent methods of conflict resolution. Mrs. Williams made the statement while extending condolences to the family of slain Kingston Technical High student Mission Campbell while addressing a consultation session. Mission was stabbed by another student on September 29 during a dispute at the institution, where she succumbed to her injuries.
A young life lost in a moment of anger, and another life blighted by what is reported to be a senseless act of violence. We must learn to resolve our disputes without resorting to violence.
Minister Williams notes the ministry's partnership with the Justice Ministry to bring restorative justice practices to our schools to help students navigate a conflict-laden society.
It's not that we are ever going to do away with conflicts, but what we want to learn is how we manage conflicts, how we de-escalate conflicts, how we get out of conflicts, how we not become a part of escalating conflict to a point where you have violence and death.
The Education Minister was addressing the ministry's semi-virtual National Grooming Policy Students Consultation session at the Wilmer's Boys School on Friday. The session was hosted to help students and other stakeholders get a better understanding of the context and rationale for the guidelines developed and get their perspectives.
We see schools as a microcosm of our society, and as such, they provide the foundation for socialization and preparation for students to enter the wider world of work and civic engagement.
She says dress and grooming form a critical part of their development and are closely linked to character development.
Dress and grooming form a critical part of their development and are closely linked to character development. Within this context, the Ministry of Education and Youth is committed to the holistic development of our students, in which the cognitive, spiritual, socio-emotional needs are nurtured. Even as we do so, we seek to ensure that all students have equal access to education, that a proper learning environment is maintained, and that the discipline to secure this is assured.
More than 79,000 residents from Greater Portmore, Brayton, Newtown, Cedar Grove, Christian Penn, Portmore Pines and West Cumberland are set to benefit from the renovation of the Greater Portmore Ponds wastewater treatment plant in St. Catherine. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, officially commissioned Phase 1 of the project on the weekend. He notes the significance of the move. He says water management is not just the distribution of potable water, it is management of wastewater and sewage. He adds that some level of public education needs to happen so that citizens can learn and practice better waste management and disposal. The construction of Phase 1 of the GPP-WWTP rehabilitation project, valued at $935 million, involved upgrading the pumping station, rehabilitation of the ponds, construction of new reed beds and other auxiliary civil works of stated contract specifications and conditions. Coming up in the Business Report, we feature another young boss who's making waves in the technology field. We have that story plus your regular market updates in the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
In recent times, there has been an increase in the amount of young adults coming forth to set up their own businesses. Youth entrepreneurship can lead to the development of more industries, and as they are self-employed, they often have better work satisfaction. This week, we hear from young boss Kevon Wright. He is doing exciting things in the area of technology.
Hey Google, please turn the main lights on.
Okay, turning the main lights on.
My name is Kevin Wright, a 26-year-old engineer. So my business is Smart Yard Jamaica, and we are a smart property development company. Not just a smart home, but a smart property development. So we do everything. From a simple smart lighting, Alexa can go ahead and turn your light off for you, or we can completely automate your apartment complex that you just bought or you just built. We go ahead and take on a lot of Airbnb work. Yeah, so small hotels, boutique hotels, Airbnbs, when they use a lot of our products such as smart locks or smart switches, the sensors that we use to control the ACs, they not only save on money, but it's easier for them to operate their business. Unique is, I would say, a stretch, but it's very niche specific for now. The systems that we sell, as I said before, it's not limited to a smart home or an office or even a farm. It can be utilized anywhere. It goes as far as the imagination of the person. My business makes your life easier. How many times have you been in bed and you're about to go to sleep and you remember you have to get up to turn the light off in the living room, the light off in the kitchen? How many times have you left your iron plugged in, or maybe you haven't, but you thought you left it plugged in, and you're on the road and you're fretting all day, oh my God, the house is going to burn down. Things like these worry of the past. You can literally just check your phone to see whether or not your iron is plugged in and turn that specific socket off. The public response has been very good. A lot of people expressed to me that they don't know that this tech is here in Jamaica, or they didn't know that it was that affordable to go ahead and, you know, convert an apartment or an Airbnb, whatever it might be. So, but the general public has been very receptive, and, you know, traction is growing. This might sound odd or left field, but the eventuality of Smart Yard, I hope, is to have a completely operated smart farm here in Jamaica. So maybe about 50-60 acres, just completely smart operated farm. Agriculture is my, you know, my little guilty pleasure.
For your market updates, in foreign exchange trading for Friday, September 30, the US dollar sold for an average of $152.81. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $112.93. The pound sterling traded for $168.13, and the euro sold for an average of $149.90. In JSE trading, the JSE index advanced by 3,792 points. The Junior Market Index advanced by 36 points. The Combined Market Index advanced by 3,870 points. And the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 3,872 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 113 stocks, of which 59 advanced, 40 declined, and 14 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited via preference, 1834 Investments Limited, and Access Financial Services Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were Caribbean Cream Limited, Dollar Financial Services Limited, and Elite Diagnostic Limited. The overall volume leaders were Sagicor Real Estate X Fund Limited with over 180 million units, Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 7 million units, and Barita Investments Limited with over 6 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, 0 securities were traded. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, 0 securities were traded. In market data for oil prices jumped more than $4 as OPEC considers reducing output by more than 1 million barrels per day. Brent crude futures were up $4.38 to $89.52 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude was up $4.79 at $84.28 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
On a Saturday, the Minister of Energy and Industries, Stuart Young, revealed that the Trinidadian government has had to settle US $1.2 billion in debt within the energy sector, which was left by the People's Partnership government.
To just add to that, the one energy contract that they negotiated during their tenure was a contract that put the energy sector into a tailspin because one, there was already a shortage of gas. But they didn't stop there. What they did is they had a greenfield energy policy that they did in the still of night without ever telling the population. What that means, Madam Speaker, is all of the gas that is available, they will send it to this new plant, forgetting all of the contracts that NGC already have.
Minister Young added that from 2017 to 2022, the National Gas Company has executed over 28 gas supply contracts, term sheets and amendments.
Skepticism and the dog whistling and the attempts to mislead yesterday with the two big announcements that were made by BP a week ago. Because you see, good news is not good news for those on the other side, but it's good news for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, and this government, along with NGC, ensured that there is a future gas supply from BP that is coming, and we executed a gas supply contract 2 Fridays ago to the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
The Guyanese government is working on the establishment of a headquarters for the judiciary. Reports are that the building will house the Court of Appeal, all high courts and land courts.
I will take the liberty, Chancellor and Chief Justice, with your kind permission, to say that we are working on a brand new, modern complex that will headquarter the judiciary, the Court of Appeal, and all the high court and land court in one modern complex. And that is in the pipeline. And why all this investment is being made? It is because access to justice is as important as access to anything else, including health care, including food, including water, housing, etc. If you have no rights, if your freedoms are not protected, then life becomes a waste of time. And it is this institution, the rule of law, the administration of justice, that protects your freedom, that protects your liberties, that protects your properties, that protects life itself. So it is as important as every other rights and every other facilities that the government is working to provide to the people of our country.
Many concerned Grenadians continue to be skeptical or are still urging caution relative to the decision of the National Democratic Congress to carry out its campaign promise of paying pension to retired public servants so soon, noting the possible economic consequences.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell says it was no coincidence that the NDC chose to pay retroactive pension from November 30th, 2022, rather than waiting until 2023 under the next budget cycle. He says the former NMP administration was allowed to suspend some clauses of the Fiscal Responsibility Act by virtue of the declaration of the state of emergency as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Mitchell adds that the suspension essentially waylaid the operations of the Fiscal Oversight Review Committee. However, with the end of the state of emergency on April 4th this year, the Prime Minister notes that under the next budget cycle, the NDC administration will be required to comply with the 3 rules set under the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
So our expenditure, particularly, must comply with that legislation. Therefore, the opportunity, for instance, to pay the pension arises now. So it is not just a question of the campaign promise. The reality is it arises now. And therefore, we have the fiscal space to do it now, and we must do so. Because it may not be permissible under the fiscal responsibility rules, which will be in place the next budget cycle.
Meanwhile, one of the Sekola unions, which represents some of the retired public servants, has welcomed the passing of the Supplementary Appropriations Act 2022 in the lower house of Parliament, which provides financial backing to retroactive pension payments.
Public Workers Union, we are very happy. Overall, we are extremely happy with the move by this new administration. And I guess that is putting it mildly. This matter has been decades old, and we must tip our hat to this new administration for the efforts it has made in terms of fulfilling campaign promises. Workers have been hurt before by fake promises given to them by politicians and by previous administration. But we see, if it's anything, this new administration can be complimented on. It's laser focus in making pension restoration a reality in Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Martinique. And we are happy. This is very transformative in the sense that lives are going to be changed. Lives are literally going to be saved because people will be given an opportunity to improve their standard of living.
Public Workers Union President Brian Gaim says such actions will bring some form of ease to the intense industrial climate witnessed over the last 2 years.
So once it is managed properly, we are confident that they can fulfill their mandate based on the fortunes, the windfall they have met in coming into power, in coming into administration. So them doing it now, meaning the new government, it is good because delays all sorts of things can happen during delays, and you wait and you wait. In the meantime, workers die without a pension. In the meantime, people are wondering about the honesty, the integrity, and the authenticity about the administration the more they delay. So they are demonstrating that they are true to their words, and workers are extremely thankful for that, and this will go down in history.
In international news, Hurricane Ian is losing strength after making landfall for the second time in South Carolina. Ian first came ashore in Florida as one of the strongest storms in U.S. history. The damage is expected to cost insurers tens of billions of dollars.
2 stranded residents got a lift from the U.S. Coast Guard. They survived Hurricane Ian.
It's just completely washed out.
But the bridge leading to their home on Sanibel Island did not. Along this stretch of Florida coast, buildings are leveled and few boats remain in the water. Here it was the storm surge as much as the 240-kilometer-per-hour winds that left destruction in their wake. Michael McPhillips rode out the storm on his fishing boat, one of the few now still seaworthy.
Watching the surge come up, it was, came up within a half hour. It was up, at least 20 foot, and high winds, at least 150 miles an hour it seemed like, and there's a lot of rain and shit blowing around, and the boat's my livelihood, and without the boat you don't have anything.
His father's boat is grounded.
Tuesday we're supposed to put our traps in the water, and we have no boats, and we don't know if the crabbing's going to be good, and we can't get bait. It's just going to be a bad situation.
Federal disaster funding will help some with rebuilding, but officials warn it will take months and billions of dollars to recover.
The Jamaica Tallawahs became the 2022 Hero Caribbean Premier League champions on Friday with an 8-wicket win over the Barbados Royals at Providence Stadium in Ghana. Here's more from TTT Live.
Barbados Royals had won the toss and chose to bat, with Rakeem Cornwall and Kyle Mayers setting them off to a blistering start, combining to score 63 runs in the power play. However, Fabian Allen would remove both openers to bring the Tallawahs back into the game, before Azam Khan would continue his fine form with a bat to take us to 161 for 7. In response, Brandon King and Shamar Brooks would produce an run partnership that frustrated the Royals' bowling attack. The franchise win their 3rd Hero CPL title. Congrats to the Tallawahs.
Jamaica Tallawahs head coach Shivnarayan Chandra spoke to Newsroom Ghana after the match.
Where does this rank in terms of your cricketing achievement?
Well, obviously this is the first big thing for me as a coach, and this is definitely the highest thing for me. So, I've played cricket before, but not as a coach, done something like this, winning CPL as you know, coming as a coach for the first time and winning CPL this is fantastic. This is great for me, yeah.
Jamaica Tallawah's captain Rothman Powell and all-rounder Chris Green also spoke to the media. Powell says his teammates were motivated by the critics.
Rothman, sum up what this means for you guys tonight.
You know, adjectives are inadequate in describing how we feel. You know, in the middle halfway of the competition, we endure some disrespect, you know, and that is something that fueled the guys. You know, special credit have to give to my senior players, you know, Brandon King, Kennard Lewis, Shamar Brooks, the overseas guys, Fabian Allen. I think when the ship got rocky, they stick with me.
Warden Brandon King has been outstanding right through the tournament.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. You know, he's judged the player of the tournament for a reason. You know, I've never seen him bat this good in a very long time. You know, he was special right throughout the competition.
You had two legends in the backroom staff there, Sir Kirtley and Shiv. How much of a bigger role they played in this success?
Yeah, they play a big role. They play their role. You know, but I said as when things get tight and things get sticky during the middle part of the competition, you know, the senior guys, the overseas guys really rallied around me. But Sir Kirtley and Shiv did play a big part.
Chris, just sum up tonight and what it means to you guys.
Special. It's hard to find the words exactly. Clinical performance from all the guys. You know, we've gone through a really good journey as a group this tournament, and different players have stood up at different times throughout, and tonight was no different. Really proud of the team. Very, very privileged to be a part of such a tight-knit family as well. You know, I thought tonight Kingy was unbelievable, thoroughly deserves player of the tournament. Fabian, the way he stood up with the ball, player of the match, and you know, in previous games, Imad Wazim, Muhammad Amir, Rothman Powell, it's been different guys each time putting their name forward to win us the match. So really special, and I know it means a lot to the local Jamaican boys as well, and it's one that I'm certainly going to remember for a long, long time.
Carib Rugby Club were the winners of the Trinidad and Tobago Rugby Union's 15th competition at the Queen's Park Savannah on Saturday. Kent Fuentes spoke to the club's Vice President Don Suker about the sport's return to full competition.
Saturday's proceedings was the end of 4 tournaments and included 7 men's teams and 4 ladies teams, including the under-18 women's and men's teams who are preparing for next year's Commonwealth Youth Games to be held on home soil. For the TTRU, like many national sporting organizations, getting back on the field of play is a welcomed feeling.
I'm very happy, I'm overwhelmed, I'm excited to see everyone back out. Everyone just couldn't wait for rugby to kickstart after the protocols.
The TTRU Vice President admits the pandemic did have a negative effect on the sport.
We have been drastically hit by COVID. Lots of players that would have dropped out, medical reasons, family reasons. But we're just overall glad that the numbers that we see, as you can see by the amount of teams here participating, that you know we have a fairly good turnout, and then we're going to have a lot within coming years with the new schools union, who are going to be pumping a lot of energy into the secondary schools, and that will filter out into our league within the next 5 years.
Commenting on the youth teams that will be taking part in next year's Commonwealth Youth Games, Sucre says it's important that their preparation starts now.
We have to represent. I mean, we are team host country was here in Trinidad and Tobago, so our teams on the 18 teams on men and women are prepping right now. We have our 7th season starting the 15th of October, so they're actually going to be participating in this in the men and women senior division as prep, because we're going to have a tough battle in our groups.
Kent Fuentes, TTT Sports.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. And remember, we are the People's Station.